This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. If you're looking for cards in the US, look no further as you can use the promo code MTGMUDSTA to get you 5% off anything on the site. Or if you're in Canada like me, you can use the same promo code at Multizone to get 10% off your orders of singles. If cards aren't what you're looking for, Original Magic Art has playmats, tokens, and sweet art that you can use that same promo code to help you get 5% off your order there. If you're looking to bling out your cards, using Alter Sleeves is a great way to do so, and you can click the affiliate link in my About section to help out the channel as you make an order. And if you just want to help out the channel, you can always consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month and join the generic Goblin Gang. Hey gang, and welcome back. Today's game is filmed at Multizone, and I've borrowed Maxwell's Rionya deck. I keep Surge to Victory, 3 Mountains, Cage Sun, Krark, and a Harmonic Prodigy. Jalbert is playing Traxos, keeping a Loxodon Warhammer, 2 Wastes, Majoring Network, Mask of Avacyn, Darksteel Plate, and Unstable Obelisk. Maxwell is playing Minn, keeping 6 Islands, and Toothy. Last but not least, Kevin is playing Zara, keeping a Phantasmal Image, Cackling Counterpart, Phantom Steed, Mountain, and 2 Islands. Jalbert wins the die roll and starts us off. He plays a Majoring Network, passing. Kevin plays an island and taps 1 for Wayfarer's Bauble. Maxwell just plays an island. I play a mountain, passing. Jalbert plays a waste, and he pays 2 for Mask of Avacyn. Kevin plays a mountain, passing. Maxwell plays an island for turn, and taps 2 for a Sapphire Medallion. At this point, Kevin decides to crack his Wayfarer's Bauble to go and find a basic, and with nothing else, Maxwell passes to me. I play another mountain for turn, and cast a Harmonic Prodigy. Jalbert plays a Cryptic Caves as his land for turn, and casts his own Wayfarer's Bauble. Kevin draws, and Jalbert uses this as a chance to crack the bauble and save some time. Kevin then plays a tapped Silver Bluff Bridge for turn, and taps 2 for Confounding Conundrum. It enters, drawing him a card. Maxwell plays an island, and then taps 3 for reduced costing Toothy. I play a mountain, and cast Krark before passing turn. Jalbert plays a waste for turn, and casts Unstable Obelisk. He then taps the Mana Rock and the rest of his lands for Darksteel Plate. Kevin plays an island, and taps all of his mana for his commander, Zara. Maxwell plays an island, and then brings up Minn. He remembers to add his counter to Toothy from drawing for the turn, and then hits Jalbert for 2. With nothing else, he passes to me. I tap 2 red for a Wild Guess, and discard a card as part of the cost. I also get a Krark trigger, flipping one of my soon-to-be available coins, which you can find on Patreon later this year. I get the right call, and copy the spells, drawing a total of 4 cards. I don't draw a land apparently in 5 cards though, and the Prodigy is also a prowess trigger. I then swing the Prodigy at Maxwell because it's his deck and therefore his fault I don't have any lands to play, and I pass, discarding down to 7. Jalbert plays a waste and brings out Traxos. It comes in tapped, and he then gears it up with a Darksteel Plate, passing to Kevin. Kevin draws and goes to combat. He swings Zara at me, which lets him look at my hand and put a creature out from it tapped and attacking. He puts out a Rapacious Dragon from my hand, making 2 treasures as the dragon enters the battlefield tapped and attacking me. I then take 7 flying damage, 4 of which is from Zara. Kevin then plays an island in his post-combat main phase, and casts Phantasmal Image. He has the clone come in as a copy of the dragon, and he makes more treasures. He's not done though, putting out his Phantom Steed, and as it enters, exiling the Rapacious Dragon to it. With nothing else, Kevin passes. Maxwell draws, and adds a counter to Toothy. He plays an island, and then taps 4 mana for Solemn Simulacrum. He puts out a basic onto the field, and then plays out a Phantasmal Image. He has it come in as a copy of Kevin's commander, and at this point also catches himself, remembering the Conundrum trigger and returning the land to his hand. Moving to combat, Toothy goes back at Jalbert, dealing 3 this time. I ask the deck to give me a land this time, but apparently I'm not specific enough because it's a tapped one, and I play a Myriad Landscape. I then tap 3 from Mirage Mirror and pass turn. Jalbert plays a Soul Ring and untaps his commander. He gears up Traxos with a Mask and goes to combat. He goes at Maxwell, who blocks with a Solemn. This still has Maxwell taking 6 commander damage from Trample and drawing as a Solemn dies. This gives Toothy another +1/+1 counter. And moving to his second main phase, Jalbert then casts a Lockset on Warhammer, which lets him untap his commander because it's a historic spell. Kevin plays an island for turn and goes to combat. He swings his commander at me, the Phantom Steed at Maxwell, and the Phantasmal Image version of the dragon at Jalbert. The steed triggers from attacking, making a token copy of the Rapacious Dragon, and this gives Kevin another set of treasure tokens. He also gets to look at my hand again with Zara, putting out a Mirror-Winged Dragon. Maxwell then blocks the steed with his Phantasmal Image copy of Zara, and Jalbert takes 6 in the air from the dragons, and I take 8, 4 of which is from Zara. The token then leaves from the steed after combat, and in his second main phase, Kevin then taps 9 mana for a kicked Rite of Replication. He gets a copy of the spell for each creature he has because of the Mirror Ring trigger, and he sacrifices all the extra Zaras and the image. He does end up with 5 Mirror-Winged Dragon tokens though, and at the end of turn, returns the original dragon to my hand. Maxwell draws, adds a counter to his Toothy, plays an island, and passes. My turn has me playing a mountain, and I tap 4 for a Nyx Lotus. I then also pass turn. Jalbert plays an Inventor's Fair as his land drop, and taps 6 mana for a Coveted Jewel. He draws 3 cards as it enters, and then taps 1 for an Avacyn's Collar. Traxos does love Vigilance, and Jalbert gears up his commander with it, and then the Warhammer. He moves to combat, swinging Traxos at Kevin. Kevin doesn't block, taking the hit for 12, while Jalbert gains 12 life and passes turn. Kevin counts up his mana in his main phase, and then taps 6 to drop a Tally. He then plays out a Cursed Mirror, having the Mana Rock come in as a hasty copy of the dinosaur, and sacrifices the original. He swings the Mirror-Wing Squad at Jalbert, Zara at me, and a Tally at Maxwell. Kevin layers his triggers to resolve Zara's first, looking at my hand and putting out the original copy of the Mirror-Winged Dragon. We then flip our top cards, and he gets a Sculpting Steel for himself, Worn Power Stone from Jalbert, Archmage Emeritus from Maxwell, and a Radiant Performer from me. He casts all of them, having the Sculpting Steel come in as a copy of Jalbert's Coveted Jewel, which lets him draw 3 cards as it enters. We then move to damage, with me taking 8 again, Jalbert taking 20 flying, and Maxwell brings out his Illusionary Ambusher. He blocks the Cursed Mirror Tally, and it dies, drawing Maxwell 6 cards, which adds 6 more counters to Toothy. He also gets the Minn trigger from an illusion dying, putting to field a Bloodline Pretender. He also makes an illusion token from Minn for drawing his second card for the turn. With Jalbert taking the hit, he has to give Kevin the Coveted Jewel, untapping it, and Kevin gets to draw another 3 cards. In his post-combat main phase, Kevin then casts a Cackling Counterpart and once more targets the Mirror-Winged Dragon. This has his dragons making the spell target all of the creatures he has, and just makes so many tokens. He makes 6 new Mirror-Winged Dragon tokens, not to mention an Tally token, and he sacrifices it so he can keep the Cursed Mirror. He also makes a token copy of the Radiant and the Archmage, plus draws a card from the Archmage Magecraft trigger. He also realizes that Worn Power Stone should come in tapped, and once all that's done, casts Faithless Looting. He draws 2 cards, one from each of his Archmage's Magecraft triggers, and then resolves the spell, drawing 2 more and discarding 2. He then plays a Command Tower as his land drop. Kevin then uses 5 mana and casts Zindersplit's Judgment, naming himself his friend and everyone else his foe. This has us bouncing a creature back to our hand, and Kevin draws 2 more cards from his Archmages, and he decides to make another token copy of the Mirror-Winged Dragon. Maxwell at this point decides to have Toothy come back to hand, and since its triggers on leaving play, Maxwell draws 11 cards. Kevin then passes, discarding down to 7 and giving me back the original Mirror-Wing. Maxwell draws and plays an island for turn. He then casts a Skull Clamp, and then drops a Phantasmal Abomination, adding a counter to his Pretender from it seeing an illusion enter. He follows up with another illusion, putting out a Jace's Mindseeker. It enters, and he has me milling my top 5 cards. He also adds another counter to the Pretender from seeing it enter. Maxwell decides to cast my milled copy of Battle Hymn, making 5 red mana. Using one of that red mana, he clamps his token illusion that was made from Minn, and it dies with 5 power. He gets his Minn trigger, putting out a Phantasmal Dreadmaw, and then draws 2 cards from the clamp trigger. He also gets another Minn illusion token from drawing his second card for turn. He uses another red to equip the new Minn illusion, which this time around has 6 power as it dies. He resolves his Minn trigger from an illusion dying, putting out a Body of Knowledge, and then draws 2 more cards. With nothing else, he passes turn. I draw for turn, and recast the Harmonic Prodigy. I tap the Nyx Lotus for 2 red, and then tap the rest in lands to help cast a Rousing Refrain. I target Maxwell, hoping to get 17 red mana, but Krark has other things to say about this, as I fail not just the first flip, but the second flip as well, since the Prodigy gets me 2 triggers from Krark. This ends up with me getting literally nothing, and the spell just goes back to my hand. I then pass to Jalbert. Jalbert is our last hope to not die to Kevin's token army, and he gains 1 in his upkeep before drawing from the Inventor's Fair. He plays a Rogue's Passage, which would have been perfect if Traxos was out, and he moves to resolve his commander. Traxos does come in tapped, which is bad, but he casts Lightning Greaves, which is good. This untaps his commander, but sadly does not leave him with enough mana to either equip him or make him unblockable. He decides to make Traxos unblockable, and then equips the Lightning Greaves onto it. Moving to combat, he goes at Kevin. Kevin can't stop it, and takes the 7, going to 19 total commander damage from Traxos. With nothing else, Jalbert passes. Kevin untaps with enough tokens to kill us all. He draws for turn, which is unnecessary frankly, and has more than enough to tap things sideways and kill us all in one swing. Game review time. So I think it's pretty clear that Zara was the all-star of this game, and I thought that Kevin's deck was particularly spicy since he was able to make so many tokens. After this game, I know he went out and picked up a copy of the Mirror-Winged Dragon because he was so impressed with it. I think Jalbert's Traxos deck was particularly good, and he was almost able to take Kevin out had it not been for that Zyndersplit's Judgment. Unfortunately, in a deck like that, you have to focus fire on one opponent, and him splitting up the damage between Maxwell and Kevin unfortunately led to his own downfall. I'm not too sure what I did to upset Maxwell's Rionya deck, but she really didn't want to play fair. That, plus the fact that Krark seemed to basically punish me every time I cast a spell, didn't really help me out this game. I know Maxwell has read the comments before in my videos, and people were very and typically viewers are very upset when someone keeps 2 or fewer lands, so I guess in this case he went a bit on the extreme side. He was able to draw into some pretty decent gas as we saw, and having that Toothy refill his hand certainly helped. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Multizone, Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.